Well, the classic car season officially has come to an end. However, we've got some rather nice weather this weekend in Yorkshire, and the Unofficial Yorkshire Classic Car Club have had a little bit of a meet here at Heath Common again, so thought I'd come out with the camera and see if we could capture a few of the cars. Today we've got one of the smallest classic cars you're probably likely to find. In fact, next to a modern car, it really is miniature. Gavin, you own this little Kei car, this Suzuki Cappuccino. What was it that attracted you to this car?
I just like the quirkiness of it, obviously the size of it. You can fit it in any parking spaces, goes in the garage easily, lots of power, good fun.
Yeah. Now, obviously, these were built to comply with Japanese Kei car regulations, weren't there? So there's restrictions on dimensions, isn't there?
Size as well,
yeah. So it's was it 660 cc?
660 cc maximum. This is 657 cc 3-cylinder turbo.
Okay. Yeah. Is there also limitations on power as well? I think.
They're limited to, I think it's 85 miles per hour.
Oh, right, okay.
You can take the limiters off. There's a way to do it. So.
Yeah. I thought there was a horsepower limitation as well.
Yeah,
60 odd.
This is 66 horsepower, I think it is.
Yeah. That's fascinating. Now, obviously, you've had a few other classics as well, including some smaller cars. But as I said, this is small even compared to a small hatchback, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah.
So obviously this is a two-seat roadster. As we see it here at the moment, sort of in convertible form.
You've got different options. Flick that switch, pull that lever up, and then you've got an instant tagger.
Yep.
Then you've got another option where in the boot you've got a panel that goes on here.
Yep.
That's another option. Then you've got the full coupe.
Yeah.
You put the roof up.
So you can essentially have it as a hard top, a sort of a T-top design, a Targa, or a full-blown convertible. Yeah. Now obviously this is some of the Kei cars didn't make it to UK, which is a shame because things like the AutoZan AZ1, for example, the Honda Beat, there were some really interesting designs. The good thing with the Cappuccino is they did actually sell these in the UK, didn't they?
Officially, I think it was 1,100 of these that they brought over UK cars. 80% of them was red.
That's right,
20% was silver, so this is the rarest colour to get over here.
Yeah. Strange thing is the silver are, as I say, considerably rarer, yet the majority of the ones I've seen when I have been to shows like this have been silver, so...
Just how things happen, really, but yes.
Yeah,
they're quite obviously a collectible car. They're quite sought after they are now, so they've gone up in value since I bought mine. I've had this 21 years now, so
yeah,
it's a pretty great car.
So obviously it's not a particularly powerful car, but the nature of how they're quite a high revving engine, aren't they? How does it drive?
It drives like a go-kart.
Yeah.
Obviously you sat that low, the power to ratio as well, because a lot of these pieces are aluminium on it, like the bonnet, the roof, so there's not much weight to the car. As soon as you put your foot down, it accelerates. The top speed isn't a lot, but the acceleration 0 to 60 is fast.
Yeah, and I presume it likes to be sort of high up the rev range, does it?
High up the rev range, give it some revs, and then get your gears in, and then go for it.
Yeah. So where's the red? There's about 9,000 on.
Yeah, I think it's 9,000 and 8.5. We've got 8,500 revs. It revs up, is it?
Yeah. And does it like to sort of be there, or is it a bit?
Yeah, it likes to be there. It's got an aftermarket dump valve on it, so it's a bit more power on it. It sounds a bit more nice with the power going down. So yeah, it's good fun. Yeah.
The thing I found really interesting about these silver ones as well, the inner wings on these are white, aren't they?
Oh, I can show you if you want. Yeah.
So like any traditional sports car then, a longitudinal engine, just considerably smaller. Still baffles me. I don't know why it is that they painted the inner wings on these white, but if you buy a red one, they're red, aren't they?
No, they're like a primer colour. I don't know if you've noticed.
Oh, are
on
they?
the red ones, the primer, say like an off-red colour.
Ah, right, okay, so it looks similar to body colour,
Yeah, it
but
looks
it's
similar to body colour,
but it's actually a
lot of
primer.
people think this used to be a white one, but obviously that's how it came.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It just baffles me why they did that, but still a nice little touch to these fascinating cars. Well, that's great, Gavin. Thank you very much for letting us have a look.
Yeah, it's been great fun. Thank you.
Well, as expected, it's quite cosy in here. Not as difficult to get in and out of as you might think. I have actually had other cars where I've had to literally crawl in and out on my hands and knees, so that's not too bad going. In terms of leg space, it's actually pretty good. The footwell's sort of wider than I might have expected for a car of this size, and it's nice and long, so your feet are really out in front of you, which I really like in a car. Headroom, obviously there's no roof on at the moment. I would think with the roof on, could be a bit tight. I'm about 5'9", give or take. So yeah, if you are a taller driver, a 6-footer for example, possibly not the car for you. The only thing I am aware of that is quite frustrating is the shoulder room. There isn't any. I haven't got any at all. Yeah. It is a really narrow car, so I suppose it is to be expected, but yeah, I think on a long drive that would be quite irritating. I've literally got my shoulder twisted sort of in front of my body here rather than in its usual position. But otherwise it's not that bad in here at all. Everything seems to fall really neatly to hand, exactly where you'd want it to be. Lovely Smomo steering wheel as well, that's really nice. Obviously hiding behind there you've got your rev counter front and centre, as it should be in a sports car, showing a red line starting at 8,500 and running all the way to 12,000 RPM, very much like a motorcycle. 90 mile per hour speedo, obviously fuel and temperature gauge in there, and then we've got this nice little boost gauge on the A-pillar here as well, because obviously this car is turbocharged. We've got a little bit of carbon trim down here as well, where we've got these electric window switches mounted here as well. Obviously there wouldn't really be any space in the doors for things like that. Heater controls and everything are pretty sort of basic Suzuki, typical Japanese car of the era. Maybe not the most premium affair, but they feel solid enough for this class of car. Little Sony head unit in there. These air vents are really tiny, but then again, when you've got a K car, everything has to be scaled down. Now Gavin's added a few nice extras to this. We've got this wood trim, which to be honest, sometimes it can sort of cheapen a car like this, but this looks to be quite a good quality, so that's really nice, and it feels really solid as well. It's even added a little cappuccino badge script on there, which I think actually looks really nice. Nice leather seats as well. Again, it does sort of lift this interior and does make the car feel a little bit more premium. Obviously they weren't the most expensive car to buy new when they was on sale in the UK, but they were quite a high insurance group, so that possibly could have put some buyers off. On the outside of the car, Gavin has again added a few sort of genuine accessories that are available in Japan, but perhaps weren't available in the UK. Things like these little mud flaps and spats at the rear as well. One of my favourite items in here is this little Momo gear lever knob. Again, really short, stubby little gear lever. Look, it's yeah, about the length of my index finger, so handbrake really neatly to hand there as well. So, fantastic. I think this could be a really fun little car. But there's more to see here than just K cars, so let's go have a look around. Now, I found a real gem here behind me, a car that I've not seen before. I did actually see the saloon version of this car quite recently, and even they're very rare. Phil, Ford Consul Capri. Yeah. I've not seen one of these at Metal before. How on earth did you manage to drop on one of these?
Well, I've had one years ago. Rebuilt a GT one in my garage. Got to a point where just about on the road. Fell out with it as such, then sold it on. Regretted it ever since. And then I just wanted to get another one these last few years, so chased around for something I thought the right colour, the right model, the right bits inside it, and just fell on this fairly luckily after a bit of searching around the country. So I picked it up locally, well, fairly locally, down at Stoke. And yeah, it's what I've always wanted really.
Yeah.
So it's just a nice gentle runabout that I do with them.
Yeah, now you mentioned this car, it wasn't actually in the UK, was it, before?
No, built in Dagenham, and then it was shipped over to South Africa, used over there until about 15 years ago. And the guy who restored it previous to me, he purchased it in South Africa, brought it back, totally restored it. He run it for about 10-12 years, and then he eventually sold it on to build another one. He's on with building another one. And then I bought off the previous owner about maybe 18 months ago now, and I've run it ever since really, just little odd shows and stuff like that. It's a 1964, so it's nearly 60 years old.
Right.
Still goes quite well.
It don't look like a 60-year-old design, does it?
I know. I mean, you look at the wingtips and stuff like that, and it's of the era of 60s, but it's quite a futuristic-looking vehicle, you know.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, obviously we can't really see, the camera's not picking this colour up very well, but it's a really unique colour as well. What is it? Do you know what the colour is?
Yeah, the guy who did it, built it, I do speak to him now again. It's a commercial verde green colour.
Right.
It's an Iveco colour, apparently.
Oh, okay.
So it's a commercial colour that he's picked out, and he put the white roof on it as well.
Right.
When it went to South Africa, it was white all over. I've got original pictures of it in South Africa.
Yeah.
So yeah, but like I say, it just for me the right colour as well. Just everything I wanted at the time.
Yeah. Now, for anyone who not in the know, these are the original Ford Capri, aren't there? There's a Capri that everyone knows, but these were the car that predated that.
Yeah.
And you did mention, obviously, I was saying about the American styling, and you did say it was actually intended for...
Yeah, it produced for the compact market for Americas, and they just never really took onto it. Just want a big enough engine for them. They wanted something a bit more powerful, obviously, like they did do at the time.
Yeah.
And it didn't really do much for the American market, so the few got sold out there. Mainly South Africa, a lot in Australia.
Yeah.
And they really took to them, did Australians and South Africans for their roads, so they were good.
Yeah, as you say, Americans did like the sort of V8s and things, didn't they?
Yeah.
This one, you happen to mention, it's a 1500.
Yeah, it's a 1500 GT engine, is this, with uprated camshaft and Conrod rather. And it's quite a powerful car for what it is, you know. Original car it was, a 1300cc. But the guy who originally restored it put a 1500 GT in it and made it a bit more powerful and workable, you know.
Yeah,
Drivable.
excellent, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, it's a stunning car, and I'm really pleased to have had a look at this one, Phil. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Now, the Consul Capri may be a bit of a unicorn, but one car that will be instantly recognisable to any child of the 80s and 90s, Vauxhall Astra Mark II in this instance, and a GTE. These things were, well, people went mad for them back in the 1980s. They were actually quite popular with car thieves as well. But yeah, that was the time we lived in, unfortunately. 2-litre engine in these, either an 8 or a 16 valve, depending on the model year. But they were very, very quick cars back in the day. Now this one, as you can see, is a convertible as well. But yeah, wow, that interior as well looks so very much of its time. And I really love the Digidash that they had in these as well. It were the height of 1980s sophistication. But this isn't the only convertible here today, because we've actually also got a Mark 6 Escort convertible here as well. This blue really sets this Ford Escort off nice in the sunlight here. I remember a friend actually having an Escort Finesse, one of the late run-out models, in this very colour blue, and it always did look really, really smart. This particular model is a Escort Calypso. As you can see, it's a convertible model. Alloy wheels, I think they may be like the ones on the GTIs, but I could be wrong. I'm certainly no aficionado when it comes to the blue oval. So under the bonnet sits the 1.6 litre Z-Tech engine as well, which were quite a good engine for the era, technology wise. Would have propelled this car quite well. car I actually clocked coming in here this morning, E23 BMW 728i. Not really had the opportunity to feature one of these before either. Just think, I mean, back in the day, it weren't like now where there's BMWs on every street corner. To have had one of these back in the day probably really would have meant something. This one looks to be in exceptional condition as well. We've even got the local dealer sticker, Sandal BMW in Wakefield, just a dealership that I do remember quite well. Lots of other great cars here today as well. We've got quite a nice selection of old Rovers. Again, as I've mentioned in another recent video, I have done a lot of shows where I've featured Rovers, so obviously I don't want to go too heavily into those today, but again, a couple of P5Bs here, a couple of P6s as well. Again, we've got an MGB Roadster. Again, I have featured quite a few MGBs in the past, but again, always nice to see some of those out. We've even had two Sunbeam Rapiers. Again, both of those cars I have interviewed the owners in the past, so if any of those cars are the kind of thing that floats your boat and you want to see them in more detail, have a look back through some of the videos that I've shot earlier on this year. I think one of those Rapiers was in my Walton video, and one of the other Rapier was in a video from maybe about a month or so ago that I actually shot here at Heath Common. It's been a cracking morning here at Heath Common. We really have dropped lucky with the weather to say it's the end of October. I do love these sort of casual meets that they have here, the Unofficial Yorkshire Classic Car Club. If you haven't done so already, do check them out. I'm going to leave the link in the video description again for you. Check out their Facebook page, which is sort of ever expanding. It's up to, I think, about 2,800 members or something like that now. So if you like your classic cars, especially if you're in Yorkshire, whether you own one or whether you're just an enthusiast, look on there. You'll be able to see all the dates and everything, and you know, if you want something to do, you can come along and have a look at all these great cars. There's also obviously the pub behind me, which I believe there's a restaurant there as well, so you can always come down for the day and have something to eat, have a drink. Yeah, one of the viewers was asking me in the comments about the Classic Car Show at the NEC. I have actually done that in previous years. I've currently no plans to attend, but I'm not saying it won't happen. I may still end up going, but as it stands, I currently haven't got plans to do that. What I have got scheduled though is I've got two more cars booked in for review, which I'm hopefully shooting in the next, well, got one booked in this week, coming, and one the following week. There's another one I've already filmed, and hopefully a couple more I've just to set some dates on. So even if the show content starts to get a little bit thin, hopefully I will have some car reviews for you to watch anyway. So as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also hit the bell notification, because again, I've had another viewer tell me that he'd not seen my videos popping up in the feed. So if you hit that bell notification, every time a video goes live, you'll get an alert, just so that you don't miss anything. Right, well, I think that just about wraps things up here today from Heath Common. So thanks for watching, and as always, I will catch you on the next video very, very soon.